Now I'd like to show you an example graph that you typically get in your IEPY studies. And the graph, as explained earlier, takes a look at the associations and relationships with your outcomes that you saw in the tables and graphs them so you can more visually see them and read them. And I'll also, in this example, show you what you can do with them in terms of marketing actions. So I'm going to click this example. And what we'll see is a PDF of what the graphs look like. Here's the title page of that. And on this page, you can see an actual sample graph. And I'll take you through this graph first. First of all, the graphs in the title tell you what SOI the associations are about. And the SOI is one of the ones that you've selected and input into your study. It tells you what the outcome measure is, either preference or purchase interest, or whatever the outcome measure is of interest in this graph. And then it tells you the target, that is a description of the respondents that are being looked at in this graph. It tells you the number of them as well, the N equals 200 in this example. The target can be the total sample or, as we'll see later, a filtered demographic that you define on your own, but all of these automatically show up in the graphs. So what are the graphs showing? Well, for each SOI and outcome that you're looking at, we definitely see the association scores, and again, these are the ones that we saw in the tables earlier. We see the association scores plotted in red bars, which are the explicit associations, and blue bars, which are the implicit associations. You can see, although it's small, you can see the numbers there, which represent the actual association scores, that is the probability with which the attributes in the bar are associated with the SOI. In addition to these association scores, you can see how they are impacting the outcome variable through the highlights and the cross hatches that we have here. The highlights are indicated like this. The green highlights indicate significant positive relationships through the Shapley values. The yellow highlights indicate significant negative relationships. And the cross-hatched bars indicate the single highest positive or negative impacts on the outcome variable, given the attribute type, that is, whether they're positive or negative, or whether they're implicit or explicit. So with all of this information, one can get a really good read about what the SOI is all about in terms of its associations and the degree to which the associations and which associations are most impacting your outcome variable. All of that is explained here in the example bullet points. If we scroll down to the next page, we simplify that a little bit and tell you that the graphs answer three key questions. To what degree is your SOI associated with each of your attributes? What are the differences between the implicit and explicit associations, which may be of interest to you, because if you see something that is implicitly much higher than the explicit associations, for instance, dumb or weak in this example, those are associations that are hidden from conscious deliberation, and that may give you opportunities to leverage these associations, either getting rid of negative ones or seeing opportunities in the positive ones. If we take this a step further, and we're using the same graph here, here's what you do with it from a marketing perspective. It all goes to strategy. So here's a example marketing strategy brief. In this example, which we've incorporated something called General Electronics, which is misspelled there, I apologize for that, as the SOI. Amount that they would pay for a General Electronics product is the outcome variable, and this is among the total sample N of 200. If we see these results, what it might tell us in terms of a marketing strategy brief, if our objective is to increase the amount of pay consumers are willing to pay for General Electronics products, then we might want to convey that our brand is friendly, smart, and strong, especially reducing these automatic implicit associations with our brand as dumb and weak, as you can see, that are implicitly coming out in our scoring system. So the tactics then would be to take these attributes and somehow execute them in what I have here is maybe a print ad. In the print ad, you can see the tagline, friendly, smart, and strong for General Electronics. And then to address the implicit associations, one might want to use symbols of friendliness or smartness or strength. Here we use a dolphin as an example of dolphins are considered to be smart animals, if you will. And yellow conveys intelligence. Kind of look that up with some psychological research. But the point is that the graphs and the information you get in our studies lend to a strategy brief and then to specific executions that marketing people can execute to bring about the objectives of increased sales by leveraging the attributes that you see here and the ones specifically that are related to your outcome of interest, some manner of purchase or purchase interest, if you will. So those are the graphs that you get. Again, you get one graph for each SOI and outcome that you put into your study. We'll now move on to show you some actual results from our study dealing with wireless providers.